Hey, welcome back. I'm going to cover what are the top 10 Bitcoin sidechains. These are like the layer 2 networks that actually sit on top of the base layer Bitcoin network. And together they provide an even more enriching Bitcoin ecosystem, and why they play such a crucial role in the evolution of drawing in more capital inflows and providing, as a result, rather interesting set of use cases that are the improvements on the base layer network. I'm going to touch on a brief description as to each one of those 10 sidechains, which I think you ought to be made aware of. So I've came across this tweet from Coinpedia, as you can see it on X, where they actually show a rather interesting pie chart that breaks down the actual top 10 Bitcoin sidechain networks by total value locked. So this is the actual equivalent of the total market capitalization of these 10 Bitcoin sidechains in the network. So these are like the layer 2 network that sit on top of the Bitcoin base layer network. Now, what are the layer 2s? The layer 2s, if you recall in a couple of videos that I published on my channel, which is all the more reason why you ought to subscribe so you can delve into those episodes in a little bit more detail. Now, the layer 2s, in essence, they're like software protocol improvements on the base layer network itself. Why, you may ask, it is needed? Well, mainly because there are some shortfalls on the layer 1. Well, it's every 10 minutes transactions get committed on the base layer Bitcoin network. So it's rather slow in terms of transaction processing time. It also is expensive to commit those transactions. So these are the main shortfalls if you compare with the more micropayments layer 2 software protocols, the famous side chains, where they actually provide a fraction of the cost for committing transactions, and also they run in microseconds. So those are the two fundamental advantages or solutions that the layer 2s provide over the base layer network. These are the side chains, which are, for me, is going to be the game changer. They are going to be the ones that are going to grow quite significantly in value. Very interesting. So I'm going to jump into the details as to what each of these 10 side chains represent in terms of use case and benefits to investors, which I think you ought to know about. Okay, so this is the list of the more detailed breakdown as to each one of the top 10 Bitcoin layer 2 solutions, which are the side chains that sit on top of the base layer Bitcoin network. Now, Stacks is quite interesting because out of the 10, this is the key one that provides that smart contracts programmability aspect in the Bitcoin network, which always lacked if you compare it with the present day leader of smart contracts technology, which is Ethereum and Solana, which are the two leading smart contracts technology blockchains. But nevertheless, this is quite important revelation of Stacks because it provides that programmability in terms of developing and rolling out decentralized apps, the famous dApps, on the Bitcoin network itself. Lightning Network is another common one, as we all know, is another predominant Bitcoin layer 2 project that enables swift and affordable payments across the network. So these are like what you might hear already are the micropayments layer 2 network, which enables more of the type of retail transactions to cover buying a coffee or buying a book or buying a flight ticket. It's more for micropayments retail, which are smaller value, and as a result would expect to pay a fraction of the transaction cost. So that is ultimately what the Lightning Network provides, is more for retail transaction use and for those micropayments, which is an important improvement and upgrade on the entirety of the Bitcoin ecosystem itself. Very important. Rootstock, which is another smart contracts platform in addition to Stacks. Rootstock is like the predecessor of Stacks. So the motive behind this prominent Bitcoin layer 2 project is to enhance the Bitcoin's capabilities, which even helps speed up Bitcoin transaction times and fundamentally encourages the use of smart contracts. So between Rootstock and Stacks, those are the two predominant layer 2 networks in Bitcoin that provides that smart contracts platform to enable developers to develop the dApps, the decentralized apps on the Bitcoin network itself. So an important aspect there. Liquid Network, which is another important and significant Bitcoin Layer 2 project, which provides a fast, secure and confidential final settlement of digital assets on the Bitcoin blockchain network. So these are like the marketplace for developing NFTs, or what we call Bitcoin ordinals. So it's like a platform for developing and issuing these Bitcoin ordinals or NFT tokens in the marketplace. That's pretty much what the Liquid Network provides. Merlin Chain is one of the recently launched Bitcoin Layer 2 solutions that actually integrates various advanced technologies like dApps, decentralized applications, including NFTs, social DeFi, gaming and AI. Additionally, it uses the decentralized Oracle network, the ZK rollup network, data availability, and on-chain BTC fraud-proof module. So in essence, what the Merlin chain for me provides is more enriched functionality over and above the base layer network to accommodate different types of use cases and different types of investor needs, whether it's in a gaming perspective, whether it's on an artificial intelligence perspective, or the broader decentralized apps for more retail commerce type use. Rather interesting. And the Oracle network here is an important aspect because within the realm of blockchain technology, what they kind of lack is the real life information. So things like trying to understand what are the pricing for certain analog assets, whether it's stocks or even pension funds, that information is not natively resident or made available in the blockchain. You need to be able to provide a data feed, i.e. an oracle, to provide that real life information. That is what, in essence, an Oracle network is meant to serve. So in the case of Merlin chain, it is that Oracle network data feed into the Bitcoin network, which is an important feature to have. So that's Merlin chain. Number 6 is Dovi, which is another Bitcoin Layer 2 project. So again, you have another smart contract capability brought into the Layer 2 sidechains on top of the Bitcoin-based layer network. MAP protocol, simply called MAP, is another important Bitcoin Layer 2 solution that provides that peer-to-peer cross-chain interoperability. It offers the needed infrastructure and components for building dApps and other crypto projects in order to achieve that interoperability aspect among Bitcoin Layer 2 and other public blockchains. This is actually good news because what we have seen historically, there are a lot of blockchains out there, they're actually fragmented, each of which have their own use case and value proposition, but they lack the interoperability among themselves. So there isn't that kind of integration or talking one blockchain with another. And providing this interoperability or this cross-blockchain bridging into the Bitcoin network in order to gain that global dominance in terms of use case features brought into the Bitcoin network, which I think is a very important aspect to cover. And again, this provides other opportunities for smart contract developers to be able to plug in interoperable use cases into the Bitcoin network. So there's tons of opportunities in terms of blockchain developer jobs and also fintechs that demand these type of programmers' skill set to be able to make this happen. So there's going to be a lot of movement there, and with every opportunity there's an investment potential there as well. So very interesting. Next one is SatoshiVM. Is a decentralized layer 2 solution that is built to provide ZK rollup capability and sidechain to perform off-chain computations. Now, if you actually subscribe to my channel, which is all the more reason why you should, I have actually introduced an important video which is called Bitcoin OS that discusses the ZK rollup feature into the Bitcoin operating system, which is spun up by a gentleman called Eden Giago, who is the founder of Bitcoin OS, and he touches on ZK rollup. So subscribe to my channel, look up for that video, and you'll be able to find a more detailed explanation. So very interesting, and I think it's very important because we're going to be seeing more off-chain computation in order to limit the amount of transactions on-chain for final settlements. The penultimate one, which is called Zulu, it provides a dual layer architecture network, which is in essence is like an open ecosystem that utilizes the EVM layer, the UTXO innovation layer, and the liquidity aggregation and what they call here a BitVM2 decentralized bridge. I don't know what this protocol is meant to address, but it seems to me it's providing kind of a hybrid of enabling technologies to take it to the next level in order to accommodate a much broader range of possibilities and new features. So it's quite innovative and forward thinking in terms of what they would anticipate that would happen next from a Bitcoin ecosystem evolution perspective. So this can only spark good news. The purpose of the layer 2 is not just to address the shortfalls on the base layer, but also to act as that innovation layer to be able to accommodate and program some additional use case features onto the Bitcoin network as a whole. So this is another value add and reasoning behind having these layer 2 solutions, or sidechains as I now call it, on the Bitcoin network. And lastly, BSquared network explains itself as the most practical Bitcoin layer 2 network where users can build DeFi, decentralized finance applications, so non-fungible tokens, the NFTs, SocialFi and other applications. It goes on to say that BSquared network is much cheaper and faster than the primary Bitcoin network. It employs Bitcoin level security with Bitcoin proof of work layer 1 and zero knowledge proof layer 2. Very interesting because, like I said, the layer 2 is that innovation engine of the Bitcoin based layer 1. So in summary, this is very good news. It just comes to show that the layer 2s are here to stay, and it's going to add more use cases, more investment opportunity and potential for growth on the Bitcoin network moving forward. And the layer 2s are fundamentally run by the fintech players. So those Bitcoin development companies who have bought into the Bitcoin thesis as the primary digital asset engine to pluck in the capital wealth from the analog into the digital world, which is Bitcoin. So these are very exciting times ahead of us. So it's all the more reason why you ought to investigate and park some of your wealth into Bitcoin, because this is the future. It's going to be explosive. Potential of these layer 2 sidechains, what's coming out, and the use cases that they provide, which is innovative, really forward thinking, and addresses some rather interesting demands for what we're going to be expecting to see ahead of us. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to hit the like button, to share the video to other like-minded individuals and colleagues at work. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel, as I regularly publish some interesting videos such as these, anything to do with Bitcoin, blockchain technology, and the future of finance. So till next time.